To Police Insight. I'm your host, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Once again, another night. I'd like to say good night to our Police Commissioner, Mr. Milton Daisy, our deputies, Assistant Commissioners of Police, Gazette officers, good night to you, our inspectors, sergeants, corporals, constables, both senior and junior, special police constables, special reserve officers, good night to you, city police, former police officers, good night to you all. Our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, Bodley Correctional Facility, fire service, port police, and also customs. I'd like to say good night to you all. We're live tonight on Choice Television, and for those of you who are wondering if we're live on the Choice Media Network on Facebook, Tevin, is the link up? Yes, it is. If you're looking for the link on Facebook, all you gotta do, it's not there yet, Tevin. I'm not seeing that there. But eventually it should be, ladies and gentlemen, on the Choice Television Facebook page. All you gotta do is go on Facebook. There it is. So I just had to do a little refreshing of the page. So all you gotta do is go on Facebook, Choice Television, and you will get the link, all right, as we are streaming live on Facebook. Tonight, I have two distinguished gentlemen as my guests, and it's important for those of you who are hearing my voice right now and viewing to tell all fathers, men, young boys, hey, ladies, we need you too, right? But we need those special individuals of society, our men and fathers, to be tuned in tonight, because we have two distinguished gentlemen, and we're going to be speaking about everything fatherhood, helping men, fathers, to be better citizens of society. And you know, by doing that, we also could tackle crime at the same time. But as you know, as usual, we have a few, let me see, I think at least two press releases. I have a press release from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Let me just get into that quickly there. You know, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, where are you? Okay, so now technology does not want to cooperate. Give me a moment. Come on. All right, here we go. So this is a press release from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. It was released yesterday, actually. Police officers attached to the Criminal Investigations Department, Castries, have charged an individual in connection with the death of 63-year-old Felix St. Mark of Cicero, Castries. Felix St. Mark was involved in a physical altercation during which he sustained a wound to his head. He was transported to the Owen King European Hospital via private means, where he was admitted in the intensive care unit on Thursday, April 28, 2022. He succumbed to his injuries on Sunday, May 1st, 2022, and an ensuing post-mortem examination confirmed the correlation between the injuries sustained and his death. Peter Philip, 63-year-old resident of Montfort in Castries, was arrested and charged for causing the death of Felix St. Mark and was remanded in custody until May 31, 2022. Okay, so great job here by the police, as usual, continuing their best to, fight crime. We also have a press release from the St. Lucia National Youth Council. Am I correct? Yes, there it is. So the St. Lucia National Youth Council appoints an interim committee following a general council of members held on April 23rd, 2022. The committee is tasked to lead the organization into its General Assembly scheduled for late 2022. The following members were appointed to serve the organization in an interim capacity. And these members are Mr. Ajani Lebon, chairperson, Ms. Zina George, Mikud Youth and Sports Council, Deputy Chairperson, Miss Krishna St. Bryce, General Secretary, Miss Erlika, oh my goodness, I hope I please forgive me. Looks like Erlika Frederick, Chozel Youth and Sports Council, Miss Marissa Calix, Grosley North Youth and Sports Council, and Mr. Dwight George, North Castries Youth and Sports Council. Yeah, so these are our interim members, the interim committee of the St. Lucia National Youth Council, a council that I hold dear to my heart. Yours truly haven't been. I was a member when I was youthful. I'm no longer youthful, according to the law, but I feel youthful. So, okay, so let's say good night to those of you in the chat already there. Kidron C. Gustav, good night to you. Kevin Knight, Rosalie Collymore, Yulin Jabatis, Sunshine King, Diane Silly, good night to you. Teresa Louis, and also Junior Laguerre, good night to you all. Okay, Don Mary McDonald, good night to you. So those of you in the chat there, you know, if your other half, your husband, boyfriend, whatever it is, tell him come, tell him come. It's time to watch Police Insight as I now get into the introduction of my guest for this evening. Oh, but just before that, we have the Know Your Laws, Steph? Okay. I'll know your laws for this evening. Very, very short law. It is coming from the Criminal Code of St. Lucia, 2013, Section 537, entitled Calling a Person Names. Now, some of you probably would not know that this is an offense. The person who, in any place, calls another person by name other than his or her own with intent to insult or annoy that other person is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $1,000 EC. Okay, guys? So calling someone a name to ridicule them, and we know in our culture this happens a lot, to embarrass the individual. Sometimes you hear persons saying, Sapa nomwe, this is not my name, don't call me that name, and we still continue to do it. Okay, so it's an offense. If you are a victim of this behavior, you can make a report to the police and you can prosecute the person, or you could have the police to issue a warning. Okay, so that was Section 537 of the Criminal Code of St. Lucia, calling a person names. And that was our Nathan Timet's Know Your Laws for tonight. Let's not forget Nathan at all. All right, so let's get on to the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, in studio with me to my immediate right is Mr. Stan Bishop, and he is here representing the Do Nation Foundation. And to his right, which is my far right, is Coach Stevan, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Stevan Lynn of the Deeds Driven Dads Incorporation. So, gentlemen, welcome to Police Insight.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so happy. I have two distinguished gentlemen here tonight. So this is... Thank you, Stan. Okay, so first of all, let's do something. Let's just ask them, to tell us a little bit about themselves. We're going to start with you, Stan. For those by now who don't know who you are, which I don't know who these people may be, but just in case we have people in the diaspora watching, tell us a little bit about yourself, Stan.
So my name is Stan Bishop. I was a journalist for 10 years, and for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been a communications specialist. And for the past year and a half, I think, yeah, I've been a part of the Do Nation Foundation. It's one of the best things I've done. I've been able to watch and see this organization grow and bring so much assistance to people's lives, especially during COVID. Because we launched sometime last year, June, in the midst of COVID, and since then we just can't seem to be stopping. It's like the Energizer Bunny. This year, tonight we'll be talking about fathers. We did a program last year called Fathers Rise, and based on the feedback we got from that program, we actually figured we have to, do another iteration of it. So that's basically my bit.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. And then on to Coach Stevan Lynn.
Thank you.
Yes, could you please tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, and good night to everyone. I am Coach Lynn. I have the wonderful opportunity of being the founder and CEO of Deeds Driven Dads, the premier fatherhood training and advocacy program all around the world, in the Caribbean in particular, as well as we are the founders of the Caribbean Fatherhood Coalition, which was birthed out of OECS. In our work, we were honored with being a Sustainable Development Movement ambassador for the last 2 years. When the madness was hitting us, we were able to work with OECS on not only elevating the SDM movement, but really spreading the fatherhood movement, the message, the mission, all throughout the Caribbean states. Fatherhood is deeds, not words. And I'm really an advocate, supporter, and real coach for fathers and father figures and future fathers, our young men who haven't had children yet. We're supporting them, pushing them, encouraging them, disciplining them so that they understand that fatherhood was a blessing. It was the best thing that could have ever happened in your life.
That's right.
However, if you don't do it the right way, if you've never had a father or a father figure to emulate, how would you know? It's not something that just comes natural, particularly if you're not in the house with the children. So this is what we're here to do, and we're so excited to be in St. Lucia. Do Nation Foundation, we're so honored that they were able to pull us in. We've been working on this now for quite some time, and we're just excited to be here today and bring the trainings, the advocacy, the peer counseling, the therapeutic that's needed for a lot of our fathers so that they can do the right thing and take care of their families, which is, as you mentioned earlier, has really a piece to the deviant behaviors that we've seen come in our children. There's always that constant variable when we ask them, and that's because they didn't have a father. They just let the streets raise them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Coach, look, I don't have my whistle.
I'm excited too. Okay, Stan, let me start with you. For those who don't know, what is the Do Nation Foundation?
Well, Do Nation Foundation is a volunteer philanthropic organization that was formed by our CEO and founder, Mrs. Diane Felicien, and she was a former national coordinator for the volunteer program, but she said the reason why she formed Do Nation Foundation was this was a sister who grew up in Marcia, and she saw the challenges that many families faced. She herself went through a lot of struggle in that neighborhood, and she saw her mom struggle to raise kids or siblings, and she always figured that whenever she got a chance to actually make life easier for people, she would actually do that. And this is a woman who has a full-time job. And we have full-time jobs too, so we know the kind of pressure she puts on us. But I mean, I really admire her courage for actually, this fastidious nature of making sure that, look, for example, I showed up at the wrong station tonight and she was like, hey, I'm coming to pick you up. Yeah? But I mean, she has this passion and this drive, and every day we look forward to hearing something from her, something new. So when she told us that Coach Stevan Lynn was going to become, we didn't have to worry whether or not he's going to be here. We just knew that the moment she was taking care of that he was going to come. So what we've been able to do over the past year and a half or so was actually almost touch lives in every corner of St. Lucia. We try not to centralize things. So during COVID, we actually were bringing hampers to people. We were bringing diapers, for shut-ins and people who are incapacitated. Vouchers. For example, we have a calendar of activities that we plan. However, you'd find in the WhatsApp group, hey, there's a woman who is 4 months or 6 months pregnant, or she has a 4-year-old, or whatever, she's in need of something. And before you know it, it's like we rally the support and the resources, and we meet those people and give it to them. So it's a remarkable journey for me. It's one of the best things I've ever done, and it's a lot of work. What I've found, though, is that being part of Do Nation Foundation, and now the research and proposal officer, what I found, and it's the main reason why, I mean, apart from Darren being my good friend, but I think the main reason why I'm with the Donation Foundation is that all my life I was working to get paid to pay bills. But since joining that organization, I joined the organization the very same day I got my certificate for my own media company. And she calls me and she tells me she wants me to be part of Donation Foundation. I'm like, cool, yeah. I found that my volunteer work is actually, you know, it's on par with my paid work.
I see.
So I'm also volunteer with other organizations, but I found that being a volunteer with this organization has actually made my paid work better. So I don't put one above the other. Mm-hmm. I get so much joy. I mean, I get paid and I get a check and I pay bills, but I get so much more joy when we go to communities and we have a cookout for moms, and just see the joy of moms learning to prepare breakfast for their families. So these are the kinds of takeaways I get from the organization, and we're going to continue to do so. And especially with the Fathers program, you were there last year. Mm-hmm. I can't wait, like like Stevan, to actually see what plays out this year.
Excellent. Well, we have so much to talk about, but we're going to take our very first break, okay? Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Bank of St. Lucia Visa credit card for everyday people, everyday moments.
Dis-moi ça qui a affecté ou. Dis-moi problème pays a. Dis-moi solution parce que moi savent ou savent. Dis-moi qui manière nous ça mener cette liste devant pour faire une bonne place pour l'autre génération. Dis-moi ça qui a sous chèo. Dis-moi tous les samedis soirs à 6h30 à sous Choice.
How do we fix the problems plaguing this country in healthcare, citizen security, education, food security, the economy, unemployment, social development? Sometimes the best solutions come from the ones most affected by these issues, the people themselves.
My solution to crime for my health, for tourism,
for the arts is.
Join me as we explore and discuss answers from the people, simple solutions offered by St. Lucians. Solutions Live, Mondays at 9 p.m., only on Choice TV.
Okay, welcome back to Police Insight. In studio, we have Mr. Stan Bishop from the Donation Foundation and also Coach Stevan Lynn from the Deeds-Driven Dads. Oh, did I say it right? Deeds? That's right. Deeds-Driven Dads. Right. Okay, I'm getting used to it, guys. Just before we continue the conversation, some quick reactions here there in the chat. Thank you all for posting your comments. We have someone say, Coach Lynn, good night. How was the local bread? And I guess Coach will eventually tell us about that. Someone there, good night, Mr. Victor C. Anthony from Brooklyn. Kayla Smith, good night to you. Magdalene Plant, good night to you. Someone here is also saying, wow, Diane is very passionate at what she does. This is Anata commending Diane and the rest of the team for all the great work. We support the men as they push through with Deeds-Driven Dads initiative. Keep it up, guys, from Anata. And this is a great discussion. Looking good, Dad. This is coming from Margaret McDonald. I believe, is that your
That's her. That's my heart.
Okay, excellent. Narcismo is good night to you. Let's continue the conversation. Over to you, Coach. Could you please tell us what is Deeds-Driven Dads? Triple Ds. Tell us about that.
Deeds-Driven Dads, as I mentioned before, is the premier NGO all around the world. I'm so proud to say that now, but in particular the Caribbean, where we do all things dad. We do the training, the advocacy, the workshops, the events. This is our mission. You and I were talking earlier, we're on a mission from God. And we were given this assignment many years ago to really uplift fathers, to put them in a position where they can take care of their family, where they can be the leaders of their home through deeds, not words. You're going to hear me say that quite a bit, and I want to say this to the audience as we're moving forward. The many years we're going to be here until the end of time. Coach Lynn is going to answer a lot of your questions with deeds, not words. Fatherhood is deeds, not words. You can't talk about fatherhood. You have to do fatherhood. That means you're going to do a lot of dishes. You're going to do a lot of laundry. You're going to know your kids like the back of your hand. You're going to know your kids' friends. You're going to know their favorite fruit. All the things. That is your priority. And then we saw this many years ago that unfortunately many fathers never had a father. You never had anybody to show you that route, to emulate a father or a positive father figure. So all of a sudden you were kissing and smooching and you have a child, but you don't really know what that entails, the responsibility, the power of being a father. So that's really what Deeds Driven Dads is about.
How important are fathers in the lives of their children?
It's everything. There was only two of you that made it. Two people put that DNA in that child. And when the child comes, that's a part of you. You can't pull away from it. If you pull away from it, you're going to be in big trouble. As well as we've seen, as we mentioned before, the child seems to go the wrong path. The father has a role. There's a reason why you had a child. God doesn't make any mistakes. You see? And because you have now put your blood, and we're going to talk a lot about that blood is very strong. It's your responsibility now to make sure that that child has the best opportunities in life, their dreams, their vision, their wishes. That's what you do as a father. I want to make sure that my child has some of their dreams come true.
Yeah. Excellent. Stan, could you tell us about the project being initiated in collaboration with Deeds Driven Dads, and what are the objectives of this project?
Like Coach said, we actually trying to target men, especially men who think they're hopeless and helpless. So we're trying to empower them by giving them the skills and the assistance they need. For example, like many men we encounter, they need counseling. Many men don't know what it takes to be a father. Basic stuff. They grew up without a dad. Mom tried their best. But when these men become fathers or grown men, they really can't even hold a relationship with a woman because there was no dad there to talk to them. We're also trying to assist men in getting employment by teaching them soft skills. Yeah, teaching men soft skills because a lot of men sometimes they have an anger, and it's deep rooted because they grew up without a dad or they grew up with abusive dads, so their self-esteem level is threatened or compromised. So even going to a job, you know, they sometimes have this macho kind of thing, you know, it's like, if you give me the job or you don't give me the job. What we try, and then they find themselves congregating with other guys like themselves, hoping to find that kind of safety net and whatever, and then sometimes that leads to trouble. So what we try to do as much as possible, for example, like last year when we had the first Father's Rise, we had a brother at the front, and this brother was literally in tears. We just invited him, but he literally was in tears, and he said what he heard really empowered him because that was the very same day that he actually got custody of his child. He was in family court for like months, I think, and that was it. So it empowered him, and we were asked to actually bring that kind of system and training throughout the island so that it benefits our fathers. So we've reached out to some men. Excellent. In fact, I posted a poster in WhatsApp, and a friend of mine just called yesterday morning. He's like, man, I want to be there. So he's going to be at the session tomorrow. I like that. I like the fact that you don't have to pressure men to come to something that they recognize that benefits them. And I told him that. I said, you know, it's good that you recognize that you have a problem and you try to change it. Because growing up, I really didn't grow up with my dad. My dad was Bill Cosby, and I mean, Yeah, the Cosby Show. I watched Cosby Show, and the family values I saw there
So
was
that was your dad.
basically that. And I always figured that I didn't want my kids to grow up without their dad. And
Although Bill was like everybody's dad, but I know what you mean.
yeah,
That's right.
Okay, excellent. Coach, I got a question for you.
Ready.
In this world where majority of prisoners are men, violent crime offenders, men, the abusers, majority are men, one would say it's the women who needs the help. Why should we put so much effort in giving assistance to men?
Because he's still in the equation, regardless of where he is. If he's still living and breathing, he's still involved in that child's life. He's still a part of the conversation. He's still felt by them. Many of those same men that you talked about, if you took a snapshot of their kids, they look just like him. Ooh, I know that's your daughter, because she looked just like you.
Yeah.
So he's still there. So for us to just throw him in the out with the wash is just not going to work for the child. All the things that we're doing now, and of course, our focus is working with fathers. But I want to be clear on this: the mission of these driven dads. I am the advocate for the child, because they won't say things to their father. They still love him. They still need him. So they're not going to say some things to him that need to be said. Ergo, we are, and that's one of them. The mission in the prisons and the jails is one of our favorites, because the fathers, we have a captured audience, and now they've seen, they've went with the streets. They followed the lead of the streets. The streets was their father, and look where he got you, as he does every single time. So now the only thing that you have left is your family, your children, and it's not too late, even in prison. The fact that you could write them a letter, I don't care if you write them in crayon, we were talking about it earlier, one page, I miss you, I love you. That letter will stay in the kid's closet forever.
I see.
So he still has that power. He still can guide them. He still can steer them in the right path. Don't follow me. Don't do what I did. I got your back. I can say some things. Even though I'm in prison, I find out the gang is trying to get you, I'm going to say some things. You see? He still has worth. He still is a provider. And I know we're going to talk about that earlier. I can't wait to that section, that workout, the provider. But he's providing them really what they need, and that's that support, and that's unconditional love. And that's all they ask for.
I agree with you, Coach.
Yeah, you wish so.
Because I used to, before COVID started, I used to teach creative writing at the prison. And there was this guy who actually went there, and he spent a number of years for a heinous crime, capital. And he said the biggest mistake he made was actually getting there, because he really loves his kids. And he said, the moment I get a chance to be out, I'm going to be there with my kids. Do you believe that guy was released about a year and a half? And every single time I see this guy, I don't know who the kids' moms are, but this guy's always with his kids. Every time. And I say, like, you meet your mates and they'll tell you, certain things just because they have this idea of getting out. But every time I see that brother, it's either on a bus or he goes to the beach and he's with his children.
He loves them.
Never seen him by himself since he came out.
A question for the two of you to ponder on. Do you think that when you look at Murder's Day, okay, Murder's Day, corporate St. Lucia goes all out. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. Father's Day sometimes probably just another normal day. Would you guys like to chime in on that? What causes that? And what more can we do to probably give some more prominence to Father's Day? Coach, you want to go ahead first?
Let me say this, because we've had this battle now for years, and I mean years.
Yeah.
So let me be clear on this. You tell them Coach Lynn said it. Mother's Day, and they get the accolations, and they get the I adore you, and the love, the overwhelming love, because all year long, they woke you up every morning to go to school. That's right. They were the bad guy. Good cop, bad cop. And all year long, the mothers played the bad cop, at the detriment. Oftentimes they hear, I hate you, because I told you you can't go out.
Right.
So when one day, we say, I'm just going to try to pay you back. We can never, so we're going to elevate you. Right, Ma? Come on, Ma. You did a fantastic job. Now, on Father's Day, if you do the same thing, you emulate that. When Father's Day comes, you get more than a spade. We were talking about it earlier. Even though I'm happy for that spade, give me my spade.
Yeah.
However, you get barbecue and dad and everybody comes to the house because you are with us all the time. We are your priority, clearly. So that's a false opponent, if you will. Mother's Day, they get their accolades because they earned it. As soon as you earn yours, you'll get yours. But if you think that Father's Day and all of a sudden everybody's just going to come to you, but you didn't do nothing all year long, it's just not going to happen.
Stan, you're still
Chime in. From my perspective, I always get a lot of love. I get almost the same love that my wife gets when it's Mother's Day.
Okay.
And from the time those kids were like coming up, yeah. It's always like they remind me of stuff like back in the day. Like thanks for being there for us all these years. We notice, we loved and appreciate the fact that you would go to work late. And these were kids were like 8 years old, writing stuff like that. There are times I didn't even want to open like cards for my daughters because I just knew it was gonna, because like my middle daughter, like she was always thinking like straight ahead. So every time you read her stuff, it's like it used to blow me to pieces. But I know a lot of folks, Father's Day takes, no precedence over mom or Mother's Day. But for me, in my case, I've always gotten a lot of love from all three of my daughters. Every time it's Father's Day, they would send, a message or some Happy Father's Day or, the same breakfast in bed mom gets. I'll get that, and it's really. That's why I tell you that it's the best thing I did was raising my three girls.
Let me say one more quick thing on that. So let's be clear on this. Mother's Day seems to be, we love you, Mom. We want to give you a lot of hugs and kisses. Yeah. Father's Day tends to be a father's roast. And if you're a good father, you're going to get talked about. They're going to laugh at you. Oh, remember this and remember that, because they love that discipline. Yeah. They love that, you're the father, but you're so different. So you earn your stripes. Father's Day will be a fantastic day. Yeah. And it will be.
And sometimes they get mad, like, you're not going to open the card. Like my wife would be Johnny, you're not going to open the envelope to see the girl's cards. I'm like,
you're in tears, right?
Excellent. Okay, we're going to take another break. And by the way, my daughter does tell me Happy Mother's Day. Good night, daughter. We're going to take another break. Stay tuned to Police Inside. Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host there, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal Seneschal Police Force. In studio with me, Mr. Stan Bishop of the Do Nation Foundation and Mr. Coach Coach Stevan Lynn of the Deeds, oh my goodness. Deeds Driven Dads. Let me tell you something, yeah? It will stick, you know, because it's about deeds, not words. Deeds Driven Dads. Now, earlier, I'd like to say good night to Officer Billy, who pointed out to me that earlier, whilst reading the Know Your Laws, it's the wrong law that was displayed on the screen. I don't know how that happened, but hopefully we will rectify that anytime soon. So thank you, Officer Billy. Let me just get some reactions again in the chat. Someone here says fathers are critical in one's life. An absentee father / mentor affects an individual even into adulthood. Many of our delinquent children and even prisoners often speak to their fathers not being present in their life. Thank you. Good night to you, Nella Joseph. Sherry Blossom, good night to you. Sometimes I feel these bad boys just need a hug. And someone also says, this show can be trusted. Great topic. All right, let's continue with the excellent conversation with our excellent dads. Don't forget, it is Deeds Driven Dads. Okay? All right. Coach, usually fathers or men have a difficulty in speaking up about their issues. As a matter of fact, guys, I think on the news broadcast, I think a gentleman committed suicide. Yes, that happened just recently, right?
60-year-old.
Yeah, 60-year-old. Coach, a 60-year-old. In your opinion or your experience, what are some of the factors that would cause this?
Well, you know, when you have a misguided understanding of masculinity, we were talking about that earlier. We are now in the new realm of nurturing masculinity. But when you've been brought up to be taught that you don't share, you don't show any emotions, you don't tell it, you don't let anybody see it because it's a form of weakness, that bottled up madness is going to come out sooner or later. There's no way around it. You cannot keep it inside of you. And it comes out oftentimes in aggression, abuse. That's why we've seen the domestic violence numbers we have. So in many ways, that's why the fatherhood program is so important. It's a peer-to-peer counseling. It's a therapeutic. And the many years we've been doing this now, going on 30, when it's just fathers in the room, not only do we counsel each other, not only do we learn from each other, but we also discipline each other. You see, when lots of fathers oftentimes are the voice of their family, they're the voice of the community. You're the rock where you are. But when you go where there's a lot of other rocks, you see, you're the rock where you are, not mine. And oftentimes that wow, I like him. I admire him. Let me tell him how I feel. And that's where it stays. It's very, very powerful. We have to have that now. We have to, particularly moving forward with the Fatherhood Initiative in St. Lucia. Those fatherhood meetings are critical as it moving forward because we self-heal. We answer a lot of questions among each other, and a credible messenger. You know, the kid's mother can tell you all day, you know, I'm at you. But when another father tells you and shows you, next thing you know, you're like, wow, maybe that is true. So that's really the importance of fathers opening up and the fatherhood program. Otherwise, you know, fathers, we're just not going to tell it to anybody. We don't, especially if I feel sensitive or I feel hurt or I feel like I was wrong. I was wrong. I have to admit I was wrong. Do it in a place where it's welcomed. You're not the only one, and let's move on.
Stan, Coach speaks about the fatherhood program. Can you tell us about the programs and activities that could be expected as a result of this collaboration, this project?
Well, tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a press conference from 10, and the press conference begins at, well, it will be held at Bay Gardens Beach Resort, the conference room. And following that, from 11:15 to 3 p.m., we have the Fatherhood Emergency Response Training.
Emergency response training?
Yes,
Interesting.
it's an emergency, like Coach said.
It's an emergency.
Okay.
And then from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., we have the father figure role session. And then on Thursday, we have from 2 p.m., we visit the Stanley John Odlum Memorial School. And then from 4 to 6 p.m. the same day, we visit the Boys Training Center. And the session is entitled, I Will Be Successful. On Friday, we have, that's May 27th, we have from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., we have the Fatherhood Emergency Response Training again. I think that's going to be another set of fathers, Coach. And then on Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., we have another session, Fatherhood Emergency Response Training.
And any father can attend those programs? How we tend to reach out to? Who are we targeting?
Okay. Any father watching this program and you realize that you need the assistance that we've been talking about, or you need that kind of, coaching and whatever, Coach Lynn, I read him up, so I know he comes legit. You're free to come to the sessions. You don't need to call us or anything, but you're free to come to that, because we didn't do all of this just for an exclusive few. We recognize that that many of our fathers have a lot of challenges, and we're doing this long before Father's Day.
Yes.
Just to make sure that come Father's Day, at least you're a changed person in some way.
Yeah.
So any father watching this program, and or not even a father, but a man who hopes to be a father soon, we invite you to come to the venues, and we will accommodate you, because we're here to assist.
Coach Lynn, we're not aware of the different types of laws, especially in the U.S. when it comes to child maintenance. However, down here in St. Lucia, there's this thinking by the public that the maintenance laws, the child maintenance laws, family court laws, social laws, are a bit unfair to men. I saw a statement earlier from one of our viewers who speaks to that it appears that the court is more centered on receiving payments. Mothers receiving payments are not really centered on men spending time with their kids. As a matter of fact, it's probably even easier for children to be separated from their dads. What is your thinking on this? Do you think that child maintenance laws are fair? Could we do better?
First, I want to say that we understand we've been working on this for quite some time. We understand that a lot of the laws are archaic, not just in St. Lucia, but all throughout the Caribbean and all across the world. However, we also know that we have been working for years now to make sure that fathers are prepared when you go to court. If we know how the battle is going to come before us, we know how the court is going to look at us. For whatever reason, they're biased. Whatever bias the judges may have, the magistrates, it is what it is. However, if you're serious about going to court and winning that case, how do you prepare yourself? What is the court looking for? What kind of answers are they looking for? What kind of engagement? How are you raising your children now? And how can you document it? He say, she say is not going to get it in court. So how are you documenting it? Where do you live? Do I have something on affidavit saying he's staying with me, he's paying such amount of rent? Are you working? Do you have a work letter? Do you have a letter from the school saying, hey, he's an active father, he's participated in all the things? Those things carry weight in front of the judge. I just want to hear your story versus hers. So we have a program called All Rise. I can't wait. All Rise is here now in St. Lucia, where we're going to be having those fathers who are getting ready to go to family court with legitimate cases. But you need to come to our mock trial first. Judge Judy, none of them have anything.
Yeah.
You wish you had Judge Judy, because once you go through us, you'll be ready. And not only will you be ready to win in court, but I want to tell this to the fathers. Before you go to court, understand, you are now talking about you want to raise your children. Be ready. That's not something for you to just get out of child maintenance, for something you want to get back at the children. Coach, I really want to have my children. I'm being held back. Get ready for it. Because once you get them, there is no letting them go. And that's what the court wants to see. Are you committed? Are you serious about this? And show me that you've done it already. When you present your case to the court in the right manner, it's been my experience, even with their archaic laws, that oftentimes they're going to say, he's a good father. He's trying. You're the problem. You see?
Stan, you're a journalist. Care to weigh in on this?
I agree. I think sometimes men want to go to the court and think, well, make the mom look bad, and get custody, but like Coach said, you have to go there. And I've seen cases on television where a guy, like real cases, where the dads would actually have documentation.
Yeah.
That it did go to the school when there was an incident or whatever, and they'd have all the documents. And like you said, it shouldn't be just about getting out of child support or proving to the mom that you're a better person. You know, it shouldn't be a tug of war. If you really and sincerely think that that you can raise a child, even if it's shared custody, you should be able to document, and you should be able to, like we said, if you don't think you have all the answers, seek answers. But you can't go there with a machismo and think, well, the judge is going to rule in your favor, because the judge will only see, well, this is a power play. You must be able to prove that in the absence of a mom or in your care, the children are safe. And not only that, your children must be able to feel that, so that they can convince a judge that my dad is, you know, I can trust my dad. You know, I love my dad, and oftentimes you find the kids would actually split it and say, well, both my parents are great parents, you know, so I don't see what the big deal is about. But men need to understand that you really cannot go to courts making a mom look bad and think, well, you know, because if you can make the mom look bad, remember, this is the same mother that gave birth to these kids.
Yes.
Right.
So in essence, you're actually saying that anything that came from her, I mean, you can turn against them sooner or later. Yeah, but so men, you have to be prepared, get the assistance you need, and sometimes there's legal aid.
Gentlemen, domestic violence is a serious problem. St. Lucia, around the world. And the records show that men are usually the majority of those doing the abusing.
Yes.
How can men, or what could we guys do, I was about to say women, what can we guys do to assist in the fight of curbing or eradicating domestic violence?
Well, I just want to be clear so that the audience knows we are 100% against any type of violence against women or children in any way, shape, or form. We're not having it. Those are our daughters. That's our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, our friends, you see? However, I must say that part of the fatherhood initiative in Deeds Driven Dads is giving those fathers who are, the buttons have been pushed. First of all, recognizing your buttons. Remember, we said this is a therapeutic.
Yes.
You have to recognize what your buttons are. And then if somebody is pushing your buttons, how do you get away from that? Because the only person, well, in domestic violence, the whole family is just devastated. But the main one is you. You're in big trouble once you put your hands on her.
I see.
Because you are feeling some pressure, or and I understand that. So that, once again, the fatherhood program and the counseling and the WhatsApp chat that we have and the monthly meetings we have, you'll be able to speak out. Wow, she's just always on me, blah, blah, blah. I never can do enough. Well, maybe you need to start doing some more. And what we found in domestic violence, for those particularly on the edge, once you start doing deeds, not words, you don't have a lot of problem. You don't have a lot of drama over here because I'm tired. I did the laundry. I made sure the kids' homework was done. You know, I went to work. Your life is fulfilled. You have purpose. You are the provider of your family. And then when that comes, you feel, I'm not trying to have any type of harm come, because now you start seeing it inside of you. Could be done.
Yes.
Boy, the other day, about a year and a half ago, my wife and I had a discussion. And I raised my voice, and my daughter was like, yelled at me. I was like, whoa. And I had to go apologize to my wife. But in terms of raising hands and stuff, and name calling or whatever, my wife wouldn't go for that. So I've never done it. She's watching the program, so she'd know. I can never hit my wife or whatever, because I know I'm living in a house with 4 women, and I would lose. But I find it strange, really, that you know, like, I mean, like when I was like my first relationships, name calling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, and I wouldn't blame it on seeing my dad do that to my mom. It was just a period of insecurity. I've been with my wife for like 15 years now. Never hit her, call her names and all these things. And I think sometimes you have to really be serious or really be ready to be in a relationship before you, because you can't just be in a relationship and just throw all your your old baggage onto somebody new and stuff like that. That's why I thank my wife for really like grounding me.
Excellent.
Because I wouldn't be doing this, and I met her 15 years ago. Yeah. So, and that's how my daughters, and that's it, because that's the reason why I don't want anybody hitting my daughters as well. You know, and I always raise my daughters and tell them the same thing.
You know, sometimes we hear gentlemen that men or women do not either try to seek help or walk away from abusive relationships because they're of the opinion that they need to stay in the relationship because of the children.
Yeah.
But is that right?
From the father's point of view, the perpetrator, as you mentioned before, the statistics show the overwhelming majority are fathers and men. There are oftentimes, when what has been my experience, you stay in that relationship because you don't have anywhere else to go.
Okay.
You see, you living on she has that house.
Yeah.
But I have to say that with when you start developing a maturity level, and that's what we're really working with the young men, particularly the boys, our Future Fathers Club. You are now becoming a mature man. I am a man. Part of that man means that you curb your attitude, your emotions, you control them. Physical violence is out of the question of anyone, let alone those who love you and support you and take care of you. It's just, but once again, we found that many fathers were brought up in that. You know, I saw my father do that, or I saw my mother's boyfriends beat her up, so I thought it was normal. And we have to break that cycle, and it comes through a lot of counseling, as well as a lot of showing. You know, we could talk to them till we're blue in the face, but let me show you how it's done. When your buttons are pushed, we all have those buttons.
Yes, we all
But how you get out of, she's buttoning, whatever.
Yeah.
Go outside, go do something, go clean the yard, do something, go with the kids, read them a book.
Some men say the women are so good at doing that, pushing their buttons.
Oh boy.
And kids too, boy, don't let your kids jump on those buttons. Woo! However,
Yeah.
once you're wise, you get that wisdom, and they're gonna get it. You recognize it for what it is. You're just frustrated. She's frustrated about something.
Yeah.
And sometimes it
Love
has
them
nothing
for
to
it.
do with us.
Right. So let me say real
Yeah.
quick, I know we're short of time, but let me say what we've also seen in domestic violence. Oftentimes the perpetrators are putting their hands on females that do not have a father.
Oh, interesting.
You see, you don't have any real strong, you don't have
I
any
see.
back.
They have no, yeah. they
You don't
got
have no
back.
security.
Yeah.
So all of a
Yeah.
sudden I feel like I could come in and talk to you
Wow.
and act any kind of way I want to.
I see.
So once again, the fatherhood initiative is very important.
that,
So you
yeah.
tell your daughters, you got their daughters back. So your daughters feel, if you talk to me that way, I'm gonna make a call.
Yeah.
See, my father doesn't play that. And I believe we can start,
I like that.
yeah, don't touch mine like that.
And I think that's why a
Yeah,
lot of
I
women
like that.
sometimes, I mean, like women, when they get into a relationship, they would volunteer information like, whoa, you get the whole story like pronto. And I think sometimes it's a disservice to them, because here's a woman trying to be honest with you and leveling up with you and tell you what her situation is. She didn't have a father figure, like Coach said. And you figure, well, cool. So you think you become her father figure, so you can boss her around and beat her up and stuff like that, and what, because like Coach said, she doesn't have cousins and tough guy brothers to come and whoop your butt. I think that's a dangerous thing. That's why some women choose to keep certain aspects of their lives
Yeah.
to themselves and don't bear all, because sometimes them trying to be honest and straight up with a guy, he takes advantage of that.
Okay, we are going to take another short break, and when we come back, we shall open up the lines, texting platform, on Facebook. Let's hear your reactions and your contributions. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Lucelec customers whose accounts are in arrears are encouraged to call or send a WhatsApp message to our credit control section at 728-9756, 728-9754, 728-9755 to make payment arrangements to settle your arrears. For bill balances, call our automated account inquiry service at 457-4433 and follow the prompts. Use myaccount.lucelec.com to obtain detailed account information and make online bill payments directly to Lucelec via debit or credit card or through your bank. Select the option to receive monthly bills via email. Customers can also pay bills through Shopee's online or walk-in service.
heard you missed us, and we are excited to be back with Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas on Choice Media Network. We have great information on how to enhance your health and well-being. So join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. as we discuss with experts on disease prevention, healing, staying fit, aging gracefully, the right foods and tools for health optimization, and keeping beautiful inside and out. Life-changing information, plus opportunities to win amazing health and wellness-related gifts. Join us Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas, only on Choice Media Network.
Your vehicle insurance should never break your bank. With Beacon, you can get up to 35% off your fully comprehensive car insurance and still get full protection from unexpected damages with free loss of use, windscreen cover, and special perils. When it comes to your insurance, always be sure you settle for more. Call us at 458-5860 or log on to beacon.co.tt and get a quote today.
Bank of St. Lucia Visa credit card for everyday people, everyday moments.
Welcome back to the show, Police Insight. Your host there, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte, in studio. We've been chatting and having excellent discussions on fatherhood and men and everything related around that topic is Stan Bishop of Do Nation and Coach Stevan Lynn from the US of Deeds Driven Dads. I said it so perfectly this time.
So many D's.
So many D's, the triple D's, Deeds Driven Dads. And we're going to open up the lines. The number is going to be on the screen, 456-0306, 456-0306. Dads who are watching, men, potential dads, women, you could call in if you have a question for my guest or contribution to the show. I'm also going to check out the streaming platform. Let's see what is being said there. And also, you could send me a WhatsApp message on 7200401, 7200401. Okay, I have a WhatsApp message which I'm now going to read, and it says men need to stand up for each other, women need to stand up too. Hopefully you have I think there's a law, guardians for children or guidance for children. There's a little mistake there, viewer. And then you go on to say, they are usually for the best interest of the child. As for those incarcerated, we have a prison ministry in the States, which is good. So that's a viewer from the States. Thank you so much. And someone says, I loved what Stan said about women sharing too much up front. Thanks for this show, gentlemen. Someone here is saying, talk about fathers who think that after a button is pressed is yes, leave the house, and feel a drink is what is going to curb him. Okay, let me try and rephrase that. The person wants to know, speak to fathers who believe that as soon as the button is pressed, the first action they feel it's okay to do, leave the house, go for a drink. Yeah. Coach Lynn.
Well, I can't say leave the house might be it. However, go have a drink. When you're so involved, once again, it's a comprehensive. You're so involved in your children, the raising of your children, that's kind of always on your mind. So even though I'm getting away from this situation that's, it's being heated, when I remove myself from that, in my mind I'm still thinking, what do I have to do tomorrow? What do my kids have? What's coming up this weekend? A birthday party? There's always something to do with kids, always. And because you're so focused in them, it kind of alleviates the issue fairly quickly. You let things calm down, apologize. I always tell the fathers, and those of us who've been in this realm for a little while, particularly married, apologize. Whether you needed to apologize or not, oftentimes goes a long way. You know, calm it down. It wasn't really mean anything, and then move forward. Definitely not have a drink. I don't say go and have more drinks. Don't do it. Let it go. Take care of your family. That's your priority now, not the drinking part.
Someone used to add anything, Stan? You okay?
No, I usually use a sense of humor with my wife. I mean, she always says I have a dry sense of humor anyway, but anytime something flares up, we just spin it around and say, "You thought I was serious about that?" And we just go with that, yeah.
Okay.
And now she does it back to me.
Someone on the, let's see, Facebook platforms get some comments. Kareem J. Octave, good night to you. Someone here says, yes, fathers, it's time to step up our role. We need to be fierce and gentle at the same time. Let's raise a great generation. Someone else here says, very correct. Many fathers are not prepared when before the courts. Some parents create a tug of war which psychologically affects the child. Okay, someone is asking for a rebroadcast of this show. Someone else says, great show, gentlemen. Let me ask a question. Gentlemen, what do you believe a society can do to empower our men, our fathers, more? Is enough being done? What more can be done?
Well, this is the perfect example. Do Nation. This is society. Do Nation has now taken on this battle, and Diane and Do Nation contacted me over a year ago and said, Coach, we're ready. St. Lucia's ready. We see it going down a path that we don't want to see, and so that's taking ownership. That's doing something about it. Do Nation. She saw a problem, and so she's doing something about it, and now others will join. She is really pulling together a collaborative effort, a coalition of businesses and industry and Chamber of Commerce. It's going to take all of us in order to really get us up out of this hole, but it will be done. The issue is just taking that first step, and that's what society is about. Society, take the first step. Join us this week. We just said we're going to be here all week and longer. We're here from now on. But this week, let's put together a real team, a fatherhood team on St. Lucia that's really going to start addressing the issues. And I believe a year from now, we're going to see a big difference in your statistics, dropout rates, teen pregnancy, all those things, domestic violence. We'll be able to see a measurable difference because of the initiative that has now been started. I know that for a 100% fact. I believe that.
Excellent.
I think we need those big buddy and big sister programs in schools and in communities. One of the things that always strikes me when I watch sports, especially overseas, David Beckham scores a goal, and his wife comes and brings his child, and he walks around the field with his child and he's waving at people. And I think that's a great inspiring moment for kids. I know a lot of our fathers and men in St. Lucia, they're attached to at least one sport, and usually it's football. I think when, for example, after a match, the dad brings his daughter or son, and make the round, especially when they win. Make the round with your child. Your child feels, empowered. It feels, like my dad put me in the spotlight. I remember that moment when my dad scored the winning goal. Simple things like that. I don't think we should shy away from, like some men wouldn't even hold hands in front of their spouse in front of their kids, even hug, stuff like that. So people, if you shy away from the simple things, they fester into the bigger problems. But we need to start providing services. A man who loses his job feels emasculated. And for whatever reason he loses his job, you still need to provide assistance for him, because it's a downward trend. He figures he loses his kids, his woman, his manhood, his everything. And I think we need to, as much as possible, try to create some kind of equity for men, provide that assistance for them.
Excellent.
Especially when they're down.
I have a submission here on the WhatsApp texting platform. Coach Lynn, I was not raised with a dad. However, I am now a dad. I have a daughter and son. Since I don't believe, let me see, I don't believe I know what a father's love is, and I'm concerned I'm not able to show that to my children. How do you show a father's love?
Through faith, sacrifice, patience, commitment, and unconditional love. Let me say those 5 keys again. You're going to hear it all week. This is for all the fathers, not just him. Congratulations to him as well. Dad. Faith. You must believe in yourself and your children like nothing ever before. They can do anything, and you are their biggest cheerleader. That's showing love. Sacrifice. You are now going to sacrifice. If you are sacrificing yourself, you are showing love for your children. Patience. You have to have patience with your children. They know those buttons too, and they're going to stay on it. Stay jumping on that button. But you have patience with them. Commitment. Being a father is a lifelong commitment. If you do it the right way, this will be until your last few breaths of the blessings that you got. And last but not least, unconditional love. If you give unconditional love to your children, I love you no matter what. They're going to come to you with all kind of crazy stuff. You know, you name it, they're going to come to you with it. But you love them no matter what. And they know that. If he does that, then he's going to be very successful. And your children don't stay small forever. And as they become adults and are successful, then he can rest on his laurels. I did a good job. I'm good. So those are the things, the 5 keys.
Excellent, viewer. Stan?
Crazy thing about me is that, especially dealing with girls, I've always tried to like walk on eggshells. So if I know it's not my turn to do dishes, I'd be like, babe, whose turn to do dishes? I'm like, can you like tell her to do her dishes, please? Would the person who's supposed to do the dishes, please? No, she already told me the person's name. So it's like I'm scared of them because I grew up in households where people would literally cuss you out. Hey, go and do it, you know? And I've always tried to make sure that I speak to my daughters in such a way that they don't feel that there's no ambiguity as to whether I'm being insultive or harmful or whatever. So I've managed it very, very well for the past 15 years. So I'd always go to my wife and be like, whose turn to do this? And then, can the person who, whatever? And she's like, why don't you speak to the person? And then my last daughter would be like, I know you're scared of so-and-so. I'm like, why am I scared of so-and-so? Because when it's my turn to do dishes, you'll come to me where you want to. So we have that kind of thing. But it's just trying to play it safe and don't make my daughters grow up thinking, well, or remembering that one moment when, you know, they feel really insulted or very, very bad. So, yeah.
We have a submission on the WhatsApp texting platform. Is there a website for donation in case someone can do something? Is there a website, Stan? Not yet?
I think we're working on a website, but we have a Facebook. The crazy thing about Donation Foundation is that if somebody wants to join the organization, all you do is you can go to the Facebook and just send us a message, maybe in Messenger. Mm-hmm. But the simplest criteria is you tell us your name, who you are, a brief bio about yourself. We just need maybe about 5 or 6 sentences and why you want to join the organization. I sit on the executive, and I can tell you that everybody for the past year and a half who was applied has been accepted. We don't exclude people for whatever reason. Once you want to come and serve, because it's volunteering, we really take people's time seriously. So once you want to volunteer, we actually tell you come on board, and we welcome you to the family. By tomorrow, you realize that we treat you as if you've been there for a year.
I wish to note that the majority of the individuals commenting in the chat are women. We have some submissions here. Wonderful discussion. This is a conversation we need to keep having. Thank you, viewer. Talking about sports, fathers are absent, the stands are empty, track, tennis, etc. Fathers need to show up. How do we encourage our fathers? The time, is there time? Because most times fathers say, I've got to work. Yeah. I'm already giving the money. I don't have time. Coach Lynn?
That's a false narrative. You don't have time. sports is key. And I come up in the realm of sports. Coach Lynn is from coaching sports. So I've seen for many years how the mother tends to be the one bringing them to practice. The mother is the one who deals with the coaches. The mother is the one who goes gets their equipment or their cleats. You see? And that is not right. You make time for anything else. Any other priority in your life, you'll find time for it. But all of a sudden, when it comes to you raising your children in the sports, no doubt, which is keeping them away from the streets, you don't have any time for it. So I tell them, and the fatherhood program is a warning, if nothing else. If you don't make time now, you're going to need that time later. You're going to need that time later. All those memories are lost. As they're talking about, oh, we won the championship, or oh, we traveled to Dominica, or we got to do this, and you can't be a part of none of that. Which then puts you back deeper in the hole inside of you thinking, wow, I was an inadequate father. I was an inadequate man. So we're telling the fathers, if nothing else, whenever your kids in sports, if they play the clarinet, if they play the piano, if they're in arts and theater, whatever the case may be, you're there supposed to be taking them. You're their guide. You're the one who gives them the support. You can do it. I know you can do it. Their father tells them that, and then they believe that.
Yeah, I think Michael Jordan went through the same thing. His dad was never there for him, even when he was learning basketball and all that. And when he became a successful star, he told him off. He said, you know, when I was coming up, my mom was the only person supporting me.
We see that over and over again, especially with the big
Michael
athletes.
Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
I didn't know that.
It's
Yeah.
true.
So, but yes, we need to. Because, for example, a dad will go to, or a man will go to a match, his team and somebody else playing, but you know, wouldn't go to. But
Yes.
I know, I mean, I share my daughters with their biological dad, and I can guarantee that he brings them, he coaches them.
Good.
He brings them to matches. He's always there for them. Yeah.
As you should be.
Yeah, he's always, from the beginning, he's always been there for his kids, and I've always admired that about him.
Nelta Alexander, good night to you. Great show. The mothers and fathers groups need to take on initiatives like that where they have open, safe, and informative sessions like this, instead of just the dancing and fete every weekend. Empower the dads. Guide them, teach them, and help them understand their roles. I'm not saying to do away with the fetes because, of course, they need the socialization and unwinding, but at least have a balance. What more can communities do?
Well, that goes to your earlier point, what can society do? And I like to say this. The mothers can help us out immensely. Two ways. One, we need your support. We need you to believe in this. I understand there's been a lot of bad feelings. I understand there's some bad blood. However, at this point, if you could give us some positive words. Remember we talked earlier about words matter.
Especially to us men.
Especially now, right. So instead of saying all the negatives or why this can't happen, or why this can't work, or why yours is not going to be involved, maybe you could say, hey, there's a fatherhood program. You could tell the kid's father. Even if there's been not a good relationship, you could say now, hey, there's a fatherhood initiative in St. Lucia. Maybe you should go because we're going to have a lot of events. You should go. And by them supporting us, we'll be able to support them. I would like to see that from the community, if nothing else, the moms, because they've been holding down the fort for a long time. They've done a fantastic job with little or nothing. So now let us come help. But we need you to at least believe that we can help. If they do that, then I believe we'll be able to move quicker. We're going to move forward, but a lot quicker with their support.
Someone here says, yes, fathers, time to play the rules at home and in society and to take responsibility and show more love and support. Best show so far. Okay, but what about on a governmental level, Coach and Stan? So like in the U.S., are there certain institutions or probably policies that the government, where you're from, that probably we could also have initiated here? What about on the governmental level?
Well, when
support for fathers and men.
When I came to St. Lucia in 1991, there was a plethora of mothers and fathers groups. So sometimes a little kid in the community needed to go to school and the parents can't afford it. The mothers and fathers group would host a country and western dance or a barbecue and whatever, and they'd raise that funds for those kids. a child is deviant, they get somebody from that group to actually, I mean, even some major institutions like churches and so on, built by those mothers and fathers groups. What you found is over time, as modernization came, we saw those groups die out. But I think we need to go back to that because it really does take a village to raise a child. I know, for example, right now the teachers are the ones who are bearing the brunt, I mean, of raising people's children.
Yes.
A storm day, you'd know in the United States, a storm day and parents are like getting frantic, but that's your child, you know, you still have to go and pick up the child. But so I think on a governmental level as well.
One second, understand?
Yeah.
Tevin, have you received any calls? Because I got a message from a viewer who said the calls are dropping. So I don't know. Check on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't think, I think when I hear reporters ask what do you think the root cause of crime is and stuff like that, and I always think that grassroots stuff like what Donation Foundation as well as Deeds Driven Dads, if you put money into that, you'll spend less on crime in detaining men in prisons. Yeah, so make the proper investment and you save lives.
Yes.
What we've seen as far as governments are concerned, not only in the United States, but all throughout the Caribbean, is that oftentimes the ministries, the social transformation or mobilization, whatever the acronym is for that division in the government, as well as the education, sports, those, when they collaborate on an initiative that's sustainable, it's been very effective. Government is government. All of us understand how that wheelhouse turns, oftentimes very slowly. However, we need them because they have some resources and some inroads that we do not as far as laymen from the outside. Government plays a big role, but really it's going to come from within. Right. The community has to, the churches, the community organizations, the NGOs, the Chamber of Commerce, when we put together and then present it to the government oftentimes says, good, that's a collaborative effort. We're not in the business of creating anything new. You know that. If we have to wait for the government to come up with new, we'll be long gone. Because they're very busy.
But did we have a call? We had one. Okay, I'd like to apologize. Apparently we had some issues with the phone calls. I was wondering why the dads not calling. They have been calling.
But one of the programs that I'm really proud about is on Sergeant Hiblet, you know about it, the Juvenile Justice Reform Project.
Yes.
I think you would be closely related to that. It's an OECS-wide project. I have a lot of hope in that because it's been on stream for quite a while, and I've heard that it's already producing some results. It's a Juvenile Justice Reform Project. So it's aimed at preventing people from getting into crime. It's actually aimed also at reducing recidivism and stuff like that. So I think, we needed something like that.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Thank you, caller. I'm so sorry for a while ago. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me. Caller, you there? Caller, you not hearing me? Go ahead.
Sure, I must say, guys, I've been listening from the inception. I think, can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you.
Yeah, a program like that is really good. But I think we have missed a bit. We need to invoke the Lord into this thing. Because I did not grow up with a father. At the age 14 when I met him for the first time, I was longing to see him. And my grandmother died in Kim, and I went outside, he and his friends were drinking. And they were just talking. And one time he mentioned my mother, and I got hungry. And the first they offered me was a licking. And I was already on the streets. I was already a tough guy. But I grew up after that, developed a relationship with this guy, took care of him. And I have kids of my own. And the key thing, like Coach said, you must make the sacrifice. You must put yourself last. Put these children first. Because you have gone through a process that you did not like. No need to subject them to that now. I attend all my kids' school of faith. I have more than one, and not in the same house, but I attend. I make a violent effort. If I want to buy something for myself and they need it, I sacrifice myself. That you must do. You must sacrifice yourself forget about you in that process. The time may come when you may concentrate back on you. But there is a stage between 1 to this 25 of high school, university. You must tell yourself, I brought them in and I must do it. I don't want them to go through what I go through. So once you can do that and forget about your world in life and do this, concentrate on them, I think we can make this place a better place. It's not about your father didn't do for you and you're not doing. This is wrong. And I don't subject myself to people saying, men, the father did not take care of them.
Yes.
Cannot be good father. I'm not going to brag about myself,
Yes.
but I think I'm making a great sacrifice and I'm trying to do the best I can do. If you meet them, they will tell you. Folks, we fathers need to go out. The generation we are concerned about now is because of we fathers at the age 55, we fail them. And that is the product we put in our bed. These kids are 21, 25, 28, and they are behaving that way. We must blame ourselves. We must look within ourselves and go back to these kids and be a father. Humble ourselves to them. If you have done something wrong, it's not about the mother again. You're not with the mother move on. That child should not be blamed.
Right.
That child is your blood, like Coach said. This is part of you. So whatever this child, you don't go in a corner and say, may I even say nothing. Forget about the mother. You stand up for this child because that is your DNA.
Right.
And unless we can do that, we're not going to go anywhere. Guys, keep up the good work. I will be continuing to listen. Let me give another person a chance.
Thank you so much,
But I have 12 kids that I take care of all of that.
Thank you so much, Father.
Degree. So it's not about education. It's about go out there and work hard. Push yourself. Sacrifice. That's the word. Sacrifice. And do it for your children. Thank you.
Thank you. You got that, Coach?
Sacrifice. I love it. I'm going to put it on T-shirts.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Sacrifice.
But you know, if you sacrifice, it comes back for you tenfold. You know, and oftentimes a lot of fathers they're afraid of the responsibility. They don't understand what that sacrifice means as far as residual effects. You're sacrificing now so that later, God willing, you're still here, you won't have to sacrifice then. You're going to one way or the other. So as the brother just said, that's your blood. This is different. This is your DNA. This is your legacy, your lineage, your grandmother, your great-grandmother. You know that, and you don't know what's going to happen to them, the greatness coming out of them. But if you deny it and ignore it and just leave it to the wind, it's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
And that's just the way, that's just life. Yeah.
We have another call on the line, or now are they coming in? Good night, caller. Caller, you there? Caller?
Hello?
Yes, caller, good night. Thank you for calling.
Hello?
We're there.
Are you hearing me?
You'll eventually hear me. There seems to
Hello?
be technical difficulties. You hear me now, caller?
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes. Just talk, caller. Go ahead. We could hear you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just started watching this program. And I'm just saying that, but I hope a lot of men actually taking time to listen to this program. Because this program is so informative and I'm really empowering men, to do the right thing. As anything else, I could say I didn't raise my father, but me not even raising my father, I wouldn't want my children to raise without me. You understand? And I think men, we need to try to more humble ourselves because we put too much of the workload onto the women. And in some situations, the women try to at least steady ships and try to keep us on the right path as men, and we always feel most of the time the women are nagging. But sometimes what we call as nagging is just like an awareness so that to ensure that we as men, we stay on the right path. Because some men, they will try their best to try to get out of some situations and then take up their responsibilities. You understand? And for me, as a man and a dad, a parent, there's no greater joy to see that my children grow up and be successful and knowing that I had a pivotal role to play in the bringing up. You understand?
Right.
And I don't think a man should never let anything come between him and the responsibility of raising his children. And the gentleman made a very good point a while ago when he said, if men don't make the time now, they will need the time later on.
Yes.
Because the way the society is moving now, the crime, the peer pressure, if you don't make the time for the kids, someone else will make the time for them. So we need to be the leaders in our children's lives, you know, no matter how small the contribution, because money is not all. Because I have some parents, some dads, financially, they could have put a big bank account. But that doesn't always that really bring the children up in the right way. You understand? The children need to see you there at the game, at the training session. Because I'm a coach. I'm a football coach. We run an academy. And I could tell you, most of the time you see the ladies come and drop the kids.
Right.
And some of them they can't stay because they themselves have to go to the supermarket. You know, they have to go and buy stuff for the kids. So most of the time they will drop the kids and they will go. I don't think they really want to drop the kids and go. But who else will help them? As if the dad is playing his role, he would be the one to stay there with the kid, while the wife or the girlfriend or whoever go and get the stuff in the supermarket and different things. You understand? So we have our role to play as men, you know? And I think we should changing, excuse me.
That's okay.
I think we should changing ourselves. And I remember as a man, I went to a men's retreat a couple of years ago, and the priest said something, and it's about a good 7 or 8 years now, and I have that at the back of my head. He said, as a man, you must have someone you could call a friend, that when you are wrong, no matter what, under what circumstances, he will tell you in your face you are wrong. And the thing is, most of us as men, sometimes we go to the person we feel that will tell us what we want to hear, and not to the person that will put us straight and tell us when we are wrong, we need to go and apologize. You know, we need to go and take care of our business. You know, so that's what happened, and we need to, as men, we need to talk about the issues that are affecting us.
That's right.
You understand? Because sometimes we see women, 2, 3, 4 women speaking, and first thing as a man we would say, what's them, you know? They're minding people's business, that they're talking, they're gossiping. But they're actually speaking of what's affecting them. And as men, what we do, we try to look at somebody to speak to. But by the time we call the person, and we're about to speak to them, we actually change the plan now. We ask them if they need something to drink. And then we buy a bear, we buy 2 bears, and we never speak about the situation. And then we go home, sometimes we intoxicate head, and then it causes more problems in our house. You understand? So we don't need to be responsible. We need to listen more to the women and assist the women in bringing up the children. All of us have our role to play. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you so much, caller.
Amen.
Yeah. Yes.
He got 7.
Yeah.
So kudos to him.
Yeah.
You know, what he's doing now. 7 incredible children. Good job. Good job, Dan.
I have a message on the WhatsApp texting platform. I really do not believe that the family support institutions are tilted in favor of women. Conventionally, the women have been the ones going to these institutions, and it appears that the men are literally dragged in there, especially the family court. My personal experience was very impressive. First, the family court, having heard my submission on the existing situation which aggrieved my child mother, they just could not grant her sole custody of our son. As a result of the impasse, she went to the civil court with 2 female lawyers claiming for her. My female lawyer, did respond with real and documentary evidence which forced the claimant to a posture of mediation. At that point, it appeared that I was in a compelling position, but I wanted what would have brought stability for my firstborn. I love him and I'm proud of him till death. What?
Compromise.
It's true, isn't it, Coach? Maybe there's a perception that the law is not in favor of men. Maybe because men don't actually try the law, or do you think?
Well, there's an inherent, because the child comes out of the mother, because she,
Yeah.
so there is no question that's her child.
Yeah.
And what was told to me many years ago,
Yeah.
and oftentimes in the minds of the court, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Mama's baby, no doubt.
Yeah.
But daddy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So in order for me to make a judgment, I need you to show me equal love, equal priority, equal focus on the child. And unfortunately, because oftentimes the child lives with the mother, you know, the child is born, particularly if it's born out of wedlock, which is the majority of our children now. No, we are no longer where it's the mother, father scenario. That's been gone for a little while. So she's living with the kids. She has proof, empirical proof. I raised them, you know, they stay with me. Regardless, he has none. Many of our fathers, too, you're not really living in your home. You're living in her home. You're living in her home. You're going from home to home to home. Kids to kids to kids. And the courts see that. You have no stability. And I'm not going to pull this child away from the little stability that he has with his mother over to you, and you're not bringing me any type of documents or anything showing me that this is really serious in your life. When you do that, then I will look at you as an equal partner in this. I will do what's best for the children, but until such time as you do that, you're just talking to me. So, All Rise. Remember I told you about the program All Rise?
Yeah.
When we do All Rise, when the fathers come through our program of that training of dealing with court, when they go to court, they will be prepared. They'll have a shirt and tie. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. The first thing you do when you see the mother, I don't care what happened. Good morning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Everybody saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole court saw you.
Yeah.
And that threw her and her lawyers off. Oh!
Yeah.
You see? Yeah. But because I appreciate what you've done for my family. I appreciate how you're raising my kids. Yeah. And next thing you know, the whole court goes a little different.
Yeah.
We're actually out of time. We're now down to final comments. Stan, you first.
It comes down to what Coach finally said there, because I'm thinking about Solomon and the baby. When there were two women claiming the child, and I think you have to compromise sometimes. If a man walks into a courtroom, like Coach says, and he's vehement that, you know, this is the wrong parent for the child or whatever, basically you're showing animosity, you're not showing love. And sometimes you have to lose to win. And I've always believed that men need to be more cognizant of the law. Women will do their research. With or without a lawyer, women will do their research. So men need to be more, and so I'm happy that this program is going to be teaching men how to behave in certain settings, because if it's not the woman, it's maybe the judge will push your buttons just to see how you react in certain circumstances. And you don't want a child in a volatile environment, because the parents might have been in that environment, and you don't want a child to be in that environment. But I want to give kudos to many of the fathers, especially since COVID has actually changed a whole bunch of stuff. It's been a disruptor. And I've noticed that in as much as you might find some women are still having problems with co-parenting or men really fessing up, I'm seeing a lot more men babysitting, walking in public with their babies in the, and there's a gentleman by my home, he's pushing his little baby in the pram every morning, and I look at that. That kind of consciousness I want to see grow. And I know there are a lot of times men feel as if they're being bogged down and being, talked down to and stuff like that. But we're here for them to try to actually make them speak up, make them stand up, make them fess up, and make them live up. Because we need men in our societies. We need, with all that's going on right now with women losing their lives every single day, we need better men than that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Stan.
we need better men than that.
Thank you, Stan. Coach, final comments?
Well, I'll be brief. We're pulling out a call to action.
Yeah.
No more talk. Talk is cheap. Fatherhood is deeds, not words. And so we're getting ready to put it to the test. We're starting tomorrow morning. And we're encouraging all fathers, for those who are in the audience today, And those who know a father, put the word out tomorrow. Hey, the fatherhood program is here. No more excuses. And I know that because we've done this in Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica and the Bahamas. We're now in St. Lucia, but we've already tested this. And the Caribbean is looking for a leader, and it has to be St. Lucia. And we're ready to move forward with Do Nation. But we can't do it without the dads. And I just want to tell those fathers who participate with us, understand this. There's no turning back. Once you put it out there and once you say, Coach, I'm ready to get my family in order, that will be your life's mission. But you have nothing else to do. Where are you going to go? What else you got to do right now?
And Coach, quickly, when we say fathers, we're talking about stepfathers,
father
guardians,
figures, yeah. So we'll say that fathers and father figures.
Yeah, okay.
Very important. Very important.
So the first session tomorrow is 11:15 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's the Fatherhood Emergency Response Training, and Coach Lynn will be giving that. And it's at Bay Gardens Beach Resort. Yeah, in the conference room of Bay Gardens Beach Resort, so you go right inside.
All right.
And the second session is from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. because we know a lot of fathers work, so we got you. And that session will be the father figure role session, and then on Thursday, we have a 2 p.m. visit to the Stanley John Adler Memorial School. And then 4 to 6 p.m. on that same day, we have the visit to the Boys Training Center for a session entitled I Will Be Successful. And on Friday, we have the 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Fatherhood Emergency Response Training. Same venue, the Bay Gardens Beach Resorts conference room. And then on Saturday, because Coach leaves on Sunday, unfortunately, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you have the whole day of Fatherhood Emergency Response Training with Coach Lynn. And Coach Lynn comes very well respected and accredited. Fathers, you just pick a day and a time that you can come, and we're there to welcome you because we're here to help you.
Excellent. Thank you, Choice TV, for being patient. We did go at least 8 minutes past the end time. And just in case if you don't remember all what Stan has said, contact Do Nation on Facebook. Just go on Facebook and type in Do Nation, DO-Nation, you will get it, Do Nation Foundation, or you could also email them at dfelician, DFELICIAN, dfelician.do.nation, dfelician.do.nation@gmail.com. Well, we've come to the end. I'd like to thank all of you who WhatsApp, text, those who contributed on the Facebook platform, those who called in. Sorry about the phone lines. We had some issues. These things happen. I'd like to thank my guests, Stan Bishop, and also Coach Lynn. I will be there. I won't be part of one of those sessions, man. Coach Lynn is amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing us with your presence. Thank you, Diane, for setting this up. Do Nation, we're out of here next Tuesday. Stay safe. Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Year 4 and ancillary.